everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are kicking off a White Scars army project. Yes, it is happening. We have Chinshar, the master of the Keshig here, all built and primed and ready to go. And, well, I've been really looking forward to doing this one, and, well, we are going to jump in just a moment. So, both parts have been primed in grey Seer, and we are going to be painting both parts. We've got the scenic base, and we've got him himself. The scenic base comes apart, as you can see, there you go, into 3 pieces. Now we're obviously going to work on him, then we're going to work on his base, and then we're also going to work on the scenic base round about the similar time. So we'll start with him, then them, and as mentioned, it has all been primed in grey Seer. So what we're going to do now is going to grab our brushes and grab our paints, and we'll be right back to get started. So, the place we're going to start on Chinshar is on all of his ivory armour. Now, unlike the White Scars, usually, according to the box art, he's got a little bit of a kind of dirty build-up. So we're going to instead go for a bright white. What we're going to do is we're going to just give it a little bit of a dirty kind of undercoat first. And in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking some Seraphim Sepia. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the parts that are going to be white. Now, this will be familiar to you Deathwing fans out there. But we're going to just get this all over the top, like this, and give it some nice kind of smooth brush strokes, being nice and methodical as we go around to get that really cool finish. Now, it doesn't matter too much if it's a little bit splotchy in places, because we are going to be layering over the top of this, because he is a White Scar, he's not a Deathwing Terminator. So, it's good practice just to kind of make sure you've got the right amount on your brush. You don't want to have any drips forming. You just want to glide across the surface of the model and take it one section at a time, like that sort of thing. As you can see, if you get a little bit too much like I just did there, you can just go over it until it's nice and distributedly even. That doesn't make any sense as a sentence, but you kind of get what I'm getting at. I'm going to do this over the top of all of the areas that are going to be this kind of slightly off-white. Just like that. And then once all that's done, we'll come back. So with that Seraphim Sepia all applied across the armor, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Ushabti Bone and Corax White. And I know this is a little bit early, but what we're going to do is we're going to use this to relayer over the top of all of that armor. And this is going to give us that kind of slightly dirtier white that we're after. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this all over. And we're just going to avoid all of the recesses. Just like that. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to move on. I'm not going to highlight it just yet because we've got a bunch of other colours to go. So we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red now, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the areas that are going to be red. So we're going to apply this over the top of these pieces of armour along the hips, over the top of the shoulders, the little kind of top knot, and the helmet as well. And there is the White Scars iconography on his tummy as well. So we're going to apply this over. But as always, just make sure you've got the box art nearby so you can see where to place it. So with all of that Flesh Tearers Red applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Reikland Fleshshade and we're going to use this over the top. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over top of the kind of tabard stuff. And with that Wyldwood all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of a couple of different areas. So the first thing we're kind of looking for is any of the kind of joints in the armour, like this one just here at the elbow. But we're also going to apply this over the top of the grips of the swords. And we're also going to apply this over the top of the kind of ribbed cabling back here. And so with that all done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our little tassels. So with that all done, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of correcting. And we're going to take some thinned down
grey Seer. I'm going to use this to essentially correct the trim on the tabards. And that sort of thing. But what we're also going to do here is we're going to use this to correct all the stitching around all that red. So with all that grey Seer correction now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over top of all of the stitching. In all the red. With that Skeleton Horde applied, we're then going to take some Imperial Fist and we're going to apply this over the top of the little yellow parts of the White Scars logo here on the tummy. There. And there. But what we're also going to do with the Imperial Fist is we're going to apply this over the top of the trim on the skirts. With that Imperial Fist applied, whilst we're waiting for it to dry, we're going to do one thing that we forgot to do, which is to take some Blood Angels Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of the rope. So with that all done, it's now time to add some metallics. And the first of these is going to be some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to be applying this over top of all of the decorative details and jewellery and trim and things like that, scattered all the way around the model. I'd recommend having the box art open for this bit because there is a lot of gold. And some of it is warm and some of it is quite worn. They sound the same. You just take your time. And then once that's all done, we'll come back in just a sec. So with all of that Retributor Armour applied, as you can see, there's a lot of gold. What we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over top of, well, all of our remaining details. So we've got the blades, for example, and we've got the kind of vents and mechanical areas on the back and stuff like that. Not really all that much silver that we're working with here. So with that all done, we're now going to add some shades to those metallics. And the first of these is going to be a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Wyldwood mix. And we're going to be using this over the top of all of our Retributor Armour. Still sticking with our Wyldwood mix, 2:1 Lahmian Medium to 1 part Wyldwood. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of blending here on the trim. So what we want to do is we want to bring this down this little area here. Then we want to wash the brush, touch off the water, and smooth out the transition. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. There, wash the brush, get rid of the water, give it a blend, and then we've got 2 more, which is to go across this little section just here. Wash the brush, touch off the water, get a little bit of a blend on there, and then we're going to do the same thing just in there as well. Wash the brush, touch off the water, give it the blends, like so. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to apply this over the top of the silver. And so with that all done, that trim on the cloth should now be dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Fuegan Orange and we're going to apply this over the top of all of it. Well, all of the trim, not all the cloth. So with that all done, Chinshar is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty good. However, we are not going to leave it there. Of course not, no. We're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding some highlights. Now, the first of these is going to be some thinned down white scar, and we're going to be using this to highlight all of that white armor. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Wazdakka Red, and we're going to use this to highlight all of our kind of red leathery stuff. And with all of that Wazdakka Red applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Wild Rider Red. I'm going to use this to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest edges in that red. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Steel Legion Drab, and we're going to use this to highlight the brow. With that Steel Legion Drab all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Karak Stone. I'm going to add this as a little spot highlight to the sharpest points in all the brown. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Thins Down Screaming Skull. And we're going to use this to highlight all of our stitching. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Thins Down Flash Gitz Yellow. I'm going to use this to highlight the trim and the stitching on the back, well, and on the front as well. So with that Flash Gitz Yellow all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Thins Down Liberator Gold. And we're going to use this to highlight all of our gold details. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Thins Down Iron Hand Steel, and we're going to apply this over the top of the cutting edge of the sword blade. Well, both of them, to be precise. With that Iron Hand Steel all applied, we're then going to take some Thins Down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver details, including those blades. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Warp Lightning, and we're going to apply this over the top of this gem up here, like so, and we're also going to apply this over the top of the eye lens just under here. So with that all done, we're then going to take a teeny tiny amount of Moot Green. I'm going to apply this with a little line over the top of the lens. Just like that. So with that all done, Chin-Shar, Master of the Keshig, is now finished, except for his fantastic scenic base. Now we're going to paint that up, and this is why we've got this bit here, because we're going to be doing exactly the same things over the top of both of these bits. So we're actually just going to start off on here, and we're going to go for exact box art. We've got Alpha Legion on there, and we've got a sort of very orangey reddy soil, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start by taking some Magmadroth Flame, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the soily bits. With all that Magmadroth Flame applied, we're then going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange, and we apply this over the top. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Hand Steel. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the Alpha Legion-y bits. So we've got the armor plating of the Dreadnought, like this bit just here. For example. And we've got the shoulder over here, and parts of the sarcophagus. As well as on Chinshar's base as well. So with that Iron Warriors applied, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Akhelian Green and Contrast Medium. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of that Iron Hand Steel. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. And we're going to apply this over, well, all of the remaining metallic areas. Excluding things like the large ribbed cables and stuff like that. Next up, we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of all those ribbed cables. So with that then done, we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red and we're going to apply this over the top of any remaining cables. There's also the eye lenses of the Dreadnought. To do as well. And then next up, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to do two things with this. Firstly, we're going to apply this over top of the skull of the Dreadnought's occupant. Like so. And we're also going to use this Agrax Earthshade to shade all the silver. And so with all that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh. And we're going to apply this over top of the skin of the Dreadnought's occupant. So with that all done, it seems a bit early, but what we are going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Abaddon Black and we're going to apply this over top of all of the kind of remaining grey Seer areas. Now the only one we're not going to do is the rim of the scenic base. That's the word I'm looking for. And it might take 2 thin coats of Abaddon Black, but that's okay. So with that all done, we can now put the whole thing together, as you can see, and we're going to give the base a dry brush of, you guessed it, Tyrant Skull. And then that's it, it's all done. And so with that Tyrant Skull dry brush all applied and the base rim now fully completed in Abaddon Black, Jin Shah, the master of the Keshig, is now finished. And this could be the beginning of something beautiful here. I really like the White Scars Legion. I'm very excited to paint some more of them, but I'm going to pace myself because I want this to take a really long time and be an army that I'm very proud of. But this was an excellent place to get started. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.